I'm now going to walk you through sewing on the top zipper. And my cell phone ran out of storage in the middle of my video, so I'm starting again. But instead of taking out all my stitches, I'm just going to walk you through what I did. The pattern calls for you to take your zipper and on the right side of the zipper, make a mark 1.5 inches from the end. You can't see my mark very well because I did it with purple on brown, but I made a mark 1.5 inches from the end on both sides. And then another mark 9 inches from that mark right here, or 11 inches if you're doing the large. And those help me figure out where to pin it. So first I matched that mark up to this seam right here, and I pinned that. And then I took the next mark and I pinned that at this seam, and then I could pin or clip. Then I clipped in between. And then on this side, I angled up the tape so it was out of the, so it went off the edge of the fabric. And over here, I angled it down till it's out of the seam allowance. After that, I repeated it on this side. And the really important part is that you match the angles that the zipper goes both down over on this end and up on this end, because that will make the final product look polished because the zippers are symmetrical. So that was the most important part of this step. Then I went and I basted it on close to the edge, and I used a basting stitch, and then that brought me to this point. You will need your accent piece that you sewed in the last step, and you'll need to make sure that you have marked the middle of this gusset on both sides, because that is where we are matching this end seam. Now I have a free arm that I can take off of my sewing machine, but if you can't, you can turn this inside out and sew it from the inside. But I'm going to sew it right side out. Now on this side, you want to make sure that we don't want to accidentally sew the zipper in with a fold or wrinkle, so I'm going to do my best to keep these zippers flat and out of the seam allowance. So after I pin the ends, I do the middle, and then I clip in between. And I make sure that the zipper tape underneath this is flat and not wrinkled at all. Oh, you see here it wants to wrinkle, so I will flatten that out. I'm now going to sew this on, and I'm going to sew with just under 3/8 inch seam allowance so that when it folds up it's the right height. If I sew it at 3/8, it'll end up being just a little short. If you are using a size 3 zipper, you can do this with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Oops, sorry. Forgot to move my sewing machine closer. And I'm going to double check that this is flat because it feels, this side feels okay. This side was starting to twist. Oops. You might need to use a zipper foot. But mine is doing okay, except for one little slip over here where it slipped on the zipper coil. And I'll make sure to go back and fix that. Now going to fold, sorry, I've got some extra threads stuck to here. Okay, I'm going to fold this accent fabric up, and I'm going to be top stitching with this seam going up. Okay, we made it all the way around. Alright, we're now done with this step and you're ready to move on to the final step of sewing everything together.